Hey guys, welcome back. My name is Simone. This is SGC Off-Road, and here we're going to take a look at the L322 Range Rover and the water ingress in the bottom of the doors where it collects between the seals. So let's get into this. So there's a lot of different ways to fix it, different things that causes it, and some was not actually a correct way to fix it because it's a totally different issue going on, but it works as a band-aid fix. That's literally what it is. People can disagree all they want, but that's a fact. And I'm going to get into it and I'm going to talk about all of it. But first, we need to understand how this whole system works. So there's going to be a little bit of an informational video how it works from my experience in automotive and things like that, and working for the dealership, because there's a lot of, maybe there isn't as many misconceptions, maybe there is. It's hard of me to assume that there's a lot, but some of the things that I've learned that I never thought would make sense, but actually now make sense now that I know them. So the way the system works is not exactly always water sealing on the doors, more like water leak management. Yes, so it's a leak management system. Unlike the windshield, and I'm more or less talking about the window glass here, but like as an example, like the windshield's glued in solid, that's it. But the doors, because you have the seals that open and close, that have winds go up and down, it's a different situation. So here you have a leak management type of technology per se, or development engineering. So we'll start with the exterior seals. We have the exterior seals like right a little bit up here, a little bit in between the doors. Their main job is to rot off a lot of the water that just kind of comes down and pours most of that. Same thing with the window seals. We have this seal and this seal and this seal there. Same situation there. Their job is to run off most of the water and then kind of guide it to leak in certain spots or run down in certain spots. As in run down through here and run out inside the door panel, because this one has these little cracks in the bottom, so the water goes to the least passive resistance and it goes into the crack and runs down and comes down at the bottom of the door. And I'll show that to you here in a second where the drains are. We'll get it all into it. Now I'm gonna open this door so we can see this. So here we have the water seal, the weather seal right here. Is this guy, and in Range Rover, because it's meant to go off road and go yay deep in the water, more or less depends how lifted yours is. This piece is actually one piece for that specific reason. Unlike other manufacturers, it's split. It's so it can go into depth of water. The seal right here that we see, that is not a water seal. It says from time, not a water seal. It's a noise seal to lower inside cab noise and have more pleasure, luxurious driving. And somebody could try disagreeing, but here's the facts of it. You can see a nice little mark where it rubs on the plastic. That's not against metal to metal body keeping the water. That's interior plastic. Same thing where it goes down on the door panel. It's an interior door panel, not a metal to metal. Hence, it's a noise seal, not a water seal. It can help us in aid of diagnostic for some of the issues. We'll get into it, but it has nothing to do with the water retainment management, water management system, none of it. Absolutely none. Okay, so actually while the door's open, we'll get right into it. So some of the things to check is one of the most common ones. Outside of checking, you want to check all your little exterior seals. If they have any cracks, any damages, things like that, that could be your leak right there, because this glass goes up and down. And as I said, it's a management system. So that with this seal split is where the water is okay for it to run down. It has its own little internal setup of how it kind of collects, let it run out. So if you have a cracked, torn seal here, there, whatever, that'll be an issue, and we can't have that. Now, assuming all of your seals are not here on the window glass are good, and your top little exterior seals right here and all that, like right there, they're all good. Most of them generally are. I haven't seen too many Land Rovers, and mine's pretty old, where all these cracked. At least not on this platform. The next thing to check is on the doors here in the bottom, and I'm going to zoom in, is the water drains. There's about 2 to 3. This door has 4 of them. I believe this back door got 3 of them. And this is where I said water management system. So some of the water where it's allowed to come down, it needs to come out, and it comes out through them. So if they're clogged up, the water will start rising, it'll start overflowing, and it'll start finding a way to kind of drain itself out. So that's the first thing to check, is to make sure you have the drains in the bottom of the doors are not clogged, and you have good exterior seals. That's the first thing. Now next, now this is probably be as common but not too commonish. It happens here and there. Now this is going to be the most common reason why we experience this failure. Alright, so this is a little bit of a side note. Some of the files just get corrupted, so this is a bit of a remake on this part. So I'll have a picture up here somewhere of the door panel removed. As for the reasons I'm about to explain, I'm not taking mine back off just so I don't break these things, and then I don't have one to replace it with. So the door panel inside of here, it has the water shredder, vapor barrier. There's so many different names, a couple of different names I can't think of the top of my head right now. Point of it is, the job of that item, that's why it's so sealed like big thick plastic. On the Land Rover BMW's case, it's like a nice thick foam to help with the noise. Noise barrier, that's another one. It is to detect the water from coming inside into the door panel and inside the vehicle. So the idea is to reflect the water back inside the door between, you know, the outer skin and the door trim, and let the water run down and come out of the drains. So that's something to need to understand now. Next, we have all these little plastic clips all through it. So these clips, their job, you know, minus holding the door panel, is another part, is they have this little foam seal. Because they go in to hold the door panel, this foam seal is actually a sealer, just like the water barrier for Nelson. So, if these clips are broken and missing, or like, you know, the white, like inside of here is a bit broken or loose, they will not have the right tension, you will have a water leak. So if you take a door panel off, Powerful UK has videos on a lot of trim removal, so I'm gonna give them a shout out to them because they have a very good detail on that. So you take your door panel off, and this, you know, after we did the check on the drains, make sure they look good and outer seals look good. We take the door panel off, you have missing or broken clips. That's gonna be your, I can almost guarantee that's going to be your issue. You need to have these clips. They all need to have these foams on them. If they're missing this little foam sealer, it's going to be water where it's coming in. And, you know, like these guys, if these trips anything broken, they're half broken, again, that's going to be your water issue. Now for the water shredder vapor barrier, if it's parts of it lifting off or not glued in with the beetle tape, and you can like kind of move it around, that'll be water coming in as well, and that'll be a water issue. So at that point, you need to address that. You need to get all new clips with the new foam sealers. I recommend get OEM ones. I've got an aftermarket ones. This is an OEM one in my hand. They're like, the aftermarket ones for some reason are weaker, and they break. Like they break when you put it in, you break when you take off, they just break. They're very not that well put together. Anyway, inspect your vapor barrier. If it's falling off or part of it's not sticking in, you need to get new beetle tape, and you need to reattach the beetle taper with the new beetle tape and make sure it stays attached, it stays cured on, things like that. There is a trick somebody doing with a heat gun, heating up the beetle tape and resticking it. It works temporarily, but you'll still have that issue. Just get new beetle tape. Yes, hi, I see you. You need to make sure these clips are there. Make sure the water shredder is fully attached, has no breaks in it, no unnecessary tears, and the beetle tape is securely attached inside. Things checked, those are the most common leaks. Is that the drain, and that's this whole situation the whole time, because you know these panels, they come off for door latch cables, switches, speakers, window regulator, things like that. So you know those things would be very common for them to be broken, and that would be the things to check. After that, say all of these things are good and you don't have any issues with that. This is gonna be like the rarity item. Check your door alignment. So there's a lot of guys talking about putting a 2x4 whatever here and then closing the door. That's not a correct fix for that, because then generally speaking you're not gonna twist the door in these heavy bolts at the top and make that shove in tighter. I'm just telling you, you're not gonna do that. You'll open up the bottom, sure, that's a possibility, but you're not gonna twist that in tighter. and all you're gonna do is open up in the bottom, let the water run out and drain. I can almost guarantee it, because if this seal smash makes good contact, the 2x4 thing in the bottom, I don't foresee that moving as the way there people thinking it moves. It just opens up there and lets it drain out. That's all. Because in all honesty, like this exterior one does a pretty good job, and this one does make really good contact generally. But check your door alignment, check your gaps, check your door gaps, make sure they'll look even, make sure your lines right here, they're all lined up. Make sure all this lines up everywhere, the height lines up, the gaps in here, the closing gaps, like the smoothness right here going across, it's all smooth. If all of these things lined up, there is no need for the whole 2x4 or whatever idea trick. If your doors are lined up, your doors are lined up, that's it. There is no smashing the door in further or whatever. That does not work like that. That's it. If it's lined up, it is lined up. That is not the issue for you to be concerned. Do the next step, that's the SIB step, and that's where internal SIB about where the water leak's possibly coming. As odd as it might sound, sunroof leak. So if your sunroof drains are clogged, the front drain will cause the water ingress up inside of here on the front door, up in here. It's very interesting that I read through it and I had to talk to one of the master tech and explain it to me. The rear sunroof drain being clogged will cause, on the contrary, on the back door. So apparently the drain tubes, as an example through here, runs through this pillar, comes down, and it comes down through here, and there's the little drain guide, little nozzle, see if you can see it here. It pours out from up inside of there. Up in front, you got the same situation. Comes through here, this tube comes up to here, and it pours out somewhere underneath here. So what happens when it gets clogged, or either up top or in the bottom, somewhere through here, it starts, there's like little joint points, the way it was explained to me, and the pipe cracks, and with the weather, you know, freezing, not freezing, and then it starts leaking water, and you can sometimes notice water leaking back here, carpeting being slightly damped here, and another thing, you can see water between the snow seal. As you see, we have nice little split, so it could run like right between the split into here, and that would be the same situation here. It'll run behind this cushion, underneath here, run through here. Yeah, mine's a little torn here from the camping trip, and it'll be right up in here. Same thing will run down and up and out. So a good way to check that is, you know, pour carefully, I'll have your sunroof open, carefully pour the water in the channel for the sunroof drain, and you know, see how it comes up. And I'm gonna show that to you. Up top, let me climb up a little better so I can see myself what I'm showing you. So right in here, this outer channel, and I'm not sure how well you can see it. I guess I'll find out when I'm editing this. That's where your drains are at, and you know, you have your drain up in here. You could probably see the tube, the little funnel section, and there's one all the way in the back here. You're not going to see that, but they're like that on both sides, and that's your part of your leak management. As the sunroof water does leak through past this seal, and that's, like I said, it's water leak management system, not a water sealing system. Now I'm gonna address the final issue, what actually turned out being on mine, which was yeah, so some of the clips are still there, some are not. I'm just gonna re-go over them and, you know, give you the idea. So in my case, it was an issue with this outer seal. So remember how I said pushing the door down with 2x4 will not fix the issue if there's an issue with the seal going on, and if anything opens up the bottom, let it drains out? That's the case. So what it was is the seal, like right now I have a different spot glued in, but there's a little ridge. You can kind of see it. Right where I put a brand new seal on. This requires a whole new seal. There is no other way around. There is no reusing it because of that 3M tape. And I moved my seal over closer to that ridge with the 3M tape as far as we'll go over this way. So what you see, what I was experiencing is my water was leaking through, right through here and running down. And you can see the old marks from the rubber seal, how it was making good contact everywhere. But here in this spot, that's where it let off on the contact, and that's where the water leaked in. And that was the issue in mine. And I ended up running an all new seal on both doors, and that was the fix. So for some of the testing, how I figured this out, some things you can do to test. Now we know, what kind of leaks we have, how to deal with them, how to fix them. So if you can't find the most common, the common way, you can't figure out the issue going on with the, a couple things are provided, like knowing broken clips, things like that. So a good test procedure for this would be with the water hose and rain it down. But the way you want to do it, you want to do it from the bottom up, so you can start eliminating things that you know are good or bad. As an example, so here, we don't really have too much here, minus this situation. So you want to start raining the water right here, overflow these seals, let them fill up a lot, like put them to test, to use your window seals. That will determine two things. It's either A, you have clogged drains, or you have missing clips and broken clips, or bad water shredder. That will eliminate that right then and there. Next would be to hose this down, this whole door area on out here. That will determine, whether or not you have an alignment issue. Well, visually you can tell if you have an alignment issue. That will determine whether or not you have this seal is bad and not doing its job anymore. Because at that point, water will start running in, start running through here, and it'll start, find its way through. Since we did the window section separate, we eliminated that. I mean, some of it, like in my case, the water still kind of came through here on and off, and I had that issue here. But at least eliminates you from looking all the way up here, searching for other things when the problem could be, just here. Which is most time is going to be just there with the water barrier and the broken clips. So you spray this whole door up top, you sprayed all of this down to here, still no issue. And that's when you go to the top. You can start dosing down the sunroof, still have no issue. Open up the sunroof and pour slowly the water in the channel. See, make sure it drains out the bottom where it's supposed to, or if it doesn't drain right out, if it's starting to collect up in the doors. It might take you a little bit, but that's going to be the way to go about that. Alright guys, I've got my mic in my hand, so over here. I hope this helped. This is the video, this is the water ingress, and I'll see you on the next one.